Let's discuss again what we did in our first lecture, as your topic 2.0 is primarily focused on roles and responsibilities in a change management process. Therefore, a revision is strongly required. Now we will discuss the different roles and responsibilities in change management. Many roles contribute to successful change management, such as the Change Manager, Change Advisory Board, CAB, Emergency CAB, the Change Process Owner, Change Management Teams. We will now discuss the key activities, responsibilities and functions of each of the above in any change management process. First on the list is a change manager. A change manager plays a crucial role in overseeing and facilitating the change management process within an organization. Their responsibilities involve planning, implementing, and managing changes to ensure a smooth transition while minimizing disruptions. Also, change managers are employees leading the change management programs. These leaders have a background in conducting structured change efforts in organizations. A certification verifying change management skill is typically desired for a change manager, who will be involved in the following key activities: leading the change management activities within a structured process framework. Here's a brief explanation of their roles and responsibilities. Assessment and planning. Designing the strategic approach to managing change and support operations that fall within the domain of change management. Evaluating the change impact and organizational readiness to limit potential risk. Identify the need for change and evaluate its impact on various aspects of the organization. Collaborate with stakeholders to understand their concerns, expectations, and requirements. Develop a comprehensive change management strategy and plan that outlines the objectives, scope, timeline, and resources required. Training and support. Supporting training and communication as part of change management. Activities may include designing or delivering specialized training resources to appropriate user base. Organize and provide necessary training to employees to equip them with the skills and knowledge required to adapt to the change. Offer ongoing support and resources to help employees navigate the change successfully. Risk management. Identify potential risks and challenges associated with the change and develop mitigation strategies. Anticipate resistance and develop plans to address it effectively. Measurement and evaluation. Evaluating resistance and adopting the change at the user, process, and technology level. Define key performance indicators, KPIs, to measure the success of the change initiative. Collect and analyze data to assess the impact of the change on productivity, employee satisfaction, and other relevant metrics. Change implementation. Coordinate and execute the change according to the established plan. Managing the change portfolio, which allows the organization to prepare for and successfully adopt the change. Authorize minor change requests and coordinate with the Change Advisory Board for changes presenting higher risk. Conduct post-implementation reviews to assess the decisions and performance related to the change request. Monitor the progress of the change initiative and adjust strategies as needed. Collaborate with project teams, departments, and individuals to ensure smooth execution of the change process. Communication and stakeholder engagement. Communicate the rationale behind the change and its benefits to employees, teams, and other stakeholders. Create a communication plan that includes regular updates, clear messaging, and targeted information for different audience groups. Address concerns, questions, and resistance from stakeholders, ensuring their engagement and buy-in. Feedback and continuous improvement. Gather feedback from stakeholders throughout the change process to identify areas for improvement. Use feedback to refine the change management strategies and enhance future change initiatives. Documentation. Maintain detailed records of the change management process, including plans, communications, progress reports, and outcomes. Document lessons learned and best practices to inform future change endeavors. Leadership and collaboration. Work closely with organizational leaders and sponsors to align the change with strategic goals. Collaborate with cross-functional teams to ensure a coordinated approach to change implementation. Overall, the role of a change manager is to guide an organization through transitions in a structured and effective manner, fostering acceptance and adaptation to changes while minimizing disruption and maximizing benefits. The Change Advisory Board, CAB, is a crucial component of the change management process within an organization. Its primary purpose is to provide oversight and make informed decisions about proposed changes to minimize risks and disruptions. Also, this is the team that controls the life cycle of change across all processes. The Change Advisory Board involves high-level members from different domains, including information security, operations, development, networking, service desk, and business relations, among others. Together, the CAB is responsible for the activities such as supporting the change manager in decisions for major changes. Here's a brief explanation of the roles and responsibilities of a Change Advisory Board, CAB. 1. Review and approval. The CAB evaluates proposed changes, assessing their potential impact on the organization's systems, processes, and resources. It reviews change requests to determine if they are aligned with the organization's goals, objectives, and strategies. Using the diverse knowledge base, skills, and expertise of each CAB member to provide a unique perspective before a decision is finalized. Also, evaluating requests for change, RFCs, the available resources, impact of change, and organizational readiness. Based on the evaluation, the CAB decides whether to approve, reject, or defer a change. 2. Risk assessment. The CAB identifies and assesses potential risks associated with proposed changes. These risks could include technical issues, operational disruptions, security vulnerabilities, and more. Validating that appropriate tests and evaluation are performed before high-risk changes are approved. Risk assessments help the CAB make informed decisions on how to proceed with changes and whether additional measures are needed to mitigate risks. 3. Change prioritization. The CAB prioritizes changes based on their urgency, impact, and alignment with business needs. Supporting the design of change implementation scheduling. This prioritization ensures that high-priority changes are addressed promptly and that resources are allocated appropriately. 4. Impact analysis. The CAB evaluates the potential impact of changes on various areas of the organization, such as systems, applications, processes, and stakeholders. This analysis helps in understanding the broader implications of changes and guides decision-making. 5. Resource allocation. The CAB assesses the resources required for implementing proposed changes, including personnel, time, budget, and technology. It ensures that adequate resources are available to support successful change implementation. 6. Communication and collaboration. The CAB serves as a forum for collaboration and communication among various stakeholders, including IT teams, business units, and senior management. It fosters transparency by sharing information about upcoming changes, their rationale, and potential impacts. 7. Emergency change review. In cases where urgent or emergency changes are needed, the CAB convenes to rapidly assess the situation, risks, and appropriate course of action. It ensures that emergency changes are managed effectively while still adhering to change management principles. 8. Continuous improvement. The CAB reviews the outcomes and effectiveness of implemented changes. Lessons learned from completed changes are used to refine change management processes and decision-making criteria. 9. Documentation and reporting. The CAB maintains records of change requests, decisions, assessments, and recommendations. It provides regular reports to organizational leadership on the status of change initiatives, potential risks, and their resolution. 10. Governance and accountability. The CAB establishes a structured process for evaluating and approving changes, ensuring that changes are aligned with organizational goals and priorities. It holds stakeholders accountable for adhering to change management guidelines and best practices. In essence, the Change Advisory Board plays a pivotal role in ensuring that changes are carefully evaluated, planned, and executed to minimize disruptions, maximize benefits, and maintain the overall stability of the organization. Let's now see the types of changes in a change management process. Different types of changes are classified based on their nature, urgency, and impact on the organization. The three main types of changes are: 1. Standard change. A standard change is a routine, pre-authorized change that follows a well-defined and documented procedure. These changes are low risk, frequently occurring, and have a predictable outcome. Standard changes are typically pre-approved by the Change Advisory Board, CAB, and do not require the same level of scrutiny as other types of changes. Examples of standard changes include software updates, hardware replacements, and configuration changes that have been thoroughly tested and proven to be successful in the past. 2. Normal change. A normal change is a planned change that goes through the standard change management process. These changes are more complex or have a higher potential impact than standard changes but are not urgent or critical. Normal changes require careful assessment, evaluation, and approval by the CAB before they are implemented. They could also be pre-approved. The change management process ensures that the potential risks, impacts, and mitigations associated with normal changes are thoroughly considered before implementation. 3. Emergency change. An emergency change is an unscheduled and urgent change that needs to be implemented immediately to address critical issues or incidents. These changes are made in response to situations where there is a threat to the organization's operations, security, or functionality. Emergency changes bypass the normal change management process to expedite the resolution of the issue. However, even in emergency situations, there should be a streamlined process for assessing and approving the change, with the goal of minimizing risks and impacts while addressing the urgent need. It's important to note that while standard and normal changes follow a structured change management process, emergency changes are exceptions that require careful handling to balance the need for quick action with the need to maintain control and minimize negative outcomes. Effective change management strategies include guidelines for each type of change to ensure that the organization can adapt to evolving requirements while maintaining stability and minimizing disruptions. The Emergency Change Advisory Board, ECAB, is a specialized group within the change management process that focuses specifically on evaluating and approving emergency changes. The ECAB plays a crucial role in addressing urgent situations and ensuring that changes made in response to critical incidents are managed effectively. When the emergency change request is raised, the change manager must conduct a thorough analysis and evaluation before finalizing a decision together with the CAB. A dedicated ECAB body ensures that the necessary resources and expertise within the CAB is available to make the right decision at the right time. The ECAB is responsible for performing activities as similar to the CAB but focused primarily on emergency changes. Here's a brief explanation of the roles and responsibilities of an Emergency Change Advisory Board, ECAB. 1. Urgent assessment. The ECAB assesses the urgency and severity of the situation that necessitates the emergency change. It determines whether the change is truly an emergency that requires immediate action or if it can be addressed through standard change management processes. Supporting the change manager during impact and risk assessment. 2. Rapid decision-making. The ECAB makes rapid decisions regarding the approval or rejection of emergency changes. It ensures that the organization can respond swiftly to critical incidents while still adhering to change management principles. 3. Risk evaluation. The ECAB assesses the potential risks and impacts associated with the emergency change. Reviewing the change request, risk analysis, and impact evaluation before the decision is finalized. It considers the potential consequences of implementing the change as well as the potential consequences of not implementing it. 4. Mitigation strategies. The ECAB identifies and recommends mitigation strategies to minimize risks and negative impacts of the emergency change. Approving or rejecting an emergency change. It may suggest additional actions that need to be taken before, during, or after the change implementation to ensure stability and safety. 5. Resource allocation. The ECAB evaluates the resources required to implement the emergency change successfully. It ensures that the necessary personnel, time, equipment, and other resources are available for rapid deployment. 6. Communication and reporting. The ECAB ensures that stakeholders are informed about the emergency change, its rationale, and potential impacts. It may communicate with relevant teams, departments, and individuals to ensure proper coordination and support. 7. Documentation. The ECAB maintains records of emergency change requests, decisions, assessments, and recommendations. Documentation is crucial for tracking the organization's response to critical incidents and for future analysis and improvement. 8. Post-implementation review. After the emergency change has been implemented, the ECAB reviews the outcomes and effectiveness of the change. Evaluating the efficacy of the emergency change implementation process. This review informs future emergency responses and helps refine the organization's approach to handling critical incidents. 9. Adherence to policies. While the ECAB focuses on expediting the decision-making process, it still adheres to the organization's policies and guidelines to maintain control and minimize risks. In summary, the ECAB is responsible for swiftly evaluating, approving, and guiding the implementation of emergency changes to address critical incidents. Its primary objective is to balance the need for rapid action with the need to mitigate risks and ensure the stability of the organization's operations. The change process owner is a key individual responsible for overseeing and managing the overall change management process within an organization. Their role involves strategic planning, process design, and continuous improvement to ensure that changes are effectively managed and implemented. The change process owner is also responsible for defining and supporting the overall process involved in change management. The activities include devising the process, in support with the change manager and CAB. Communicating the guidelines to appropriate stakeholders. Here's a brief explanation of the roles and responsibilities of a change process owner. 1. Process design and strategy. Develop and design the organization's change management process, including its phases, workflows, roles, and associated procedures. Facilitating cross-departmental collaboration necessary for change management. Align the change management process with the organization's goals, objectives, and overall strategies. 2. Governance and standards. Establish governance and standards for change management, including defining the criteria for categorizing changes, example, standard, normal, emergency, and the roles and responsibilities of various stakeholders. Ensure that the change management process adheres to industry best practices and any regulatory requirements. 3. Policy development. Create and maintain change management policies that outline the principles, guidelines, and rules that govern how changes are planned, evaluated, approved, and implemented. 4. Stakeholder engagement. Collaborate with key stakeholders across the organization, such as senior leadership, IT teams, and business units, to ensure that change management processes are aligned with their needs and expectations. 5. Process improvement. Continuously review and improve the change management process based on feedback, lessons learned, and industry developments. Evaluating and improving the change management process. Implement enhancements to increase efficiency, effectiveness, and alignment with organizational goals. 6. Training and awareness. Develop training programs and resources to educate employees and stakeholders about the change management process, its benefits, and their roles within it. Promote change management awareness across the organization. 7. Performance metrics and reporting. Define key performance indicators, KPIs, to measure the effectiveness of the change management process. Reporting on the performance of the process to CAB and Change Manager. Initiating process improvements. Monitor and report on the process's performance, providing insights into its efficiency, success rates, and areas for improvement. 8. Change culture advocacy. Advocate for a change-positive culture within the organization, emphasizing the importance of effective change management and its contribution to successful outcomes. 9. Escalation point. Serve as an escalation point for complex or high-impact changes that require additional oversight or strategic decision-making. 10. Collaboration with other processes. Coordinate with other organizational processes, such as incident management, problem management, and service transition, to ensure a holistic approach to managing IT and business changes. 11. Change management tools and technology. Identify, implement, and manage appropriate tools and technology that support the change management process, including change request tracking, communication, and reporting. 12. Leadership and advocacy. Provide leadership and advocacy for the change management process, ensuring that it is understood, valued, and integrated throughout the organization. In essence, the change process owner plays a pivotal role in shaping and maintaining an effective change management process that enables the organization to adapt to evolving needs while minimizing risks and disruptions. The change management team consists of individuals responsible for executing the day-to-day activities of the change management process within an organization. This team plays a critical role in implementing changes while ensuring minimal disruption and maximizing the acceptance of those changes. Change management functions are distributed in teams across departments. Individuals within these teams may be responsible for managing change within a specific organizational unit considering their expertise, skills, and background. Specific change management teams may consist of 3 roles. First is change requester. The individual responsible for initiating, preparing, and submitting a change request. This person may support collection of the necessary business information and engaging with the concerned stakeholders before the change request is assigned to the change tester. Collaborate with the change management team to assess the potential impact of the change on various aspects of the organization, including systems, processes, and stakeholders. Identify the need for a change based on operational requirements, improvements, or addressing issues. Provide context that helps the change management team understand the impact and importance of the proposed change. Consider how the change might affect other teams, departments, or individuals, and communicate these potential impacts to the change management team. Additionally, the change requester also works with the change management team to support impact assessment by collecting data and communicating with other stakeholders. Second is change owner/implementer. The individual deemed as an owner of the CR throughout the request lifecycle. The change tester may also take the role of the change requester and support the process for creating and submitting a change request. Develop detailed implementation plans that outline the steps, resources, timelines, and dependencies required for successful change execution. Keep stakeholders informed about the progress of change implementation, providing regular updates and addressing any concerns or questions that arise. Monitor the change implementation process to identify any issues, discrepancies, or deviations from the planned approach. The change owner ensures that the necessary tests have been performed so that the change request is followed up by appropriate urgency. The change owner would also document the process across the request lifecycle. Third is change approver. The individual responsible for the initial approval of a change request before it is sent to the change manager and CAB for a final decision. The change approver would communicate with other stakeholders and support the documentation before the request is sent to the change manager. This role is also generic and may be occupied by different individuals at various hierarchical levels of the change management framework. Assess the potential risks associated with the change, considering factors such as technical complexity, operational disruptions, security concerns, and potential conflicts with other changes. Consider the perspectives of relevant stakeholders who might be impacted by the change and weigh their input in the decision-making process. Serve as an escalation point for complex or high-impact changes that require senior-level review and decision-making. Provide timely responses to change requests, avoiding unnecessary delays in the change management process. At each level, the change approver ensures that the change request has reached the necessary standard of readiness to warrant a decision by the change manager and the CAB. Here's a brief explanation of the responsibilities of a change management team in general. 1. Change planning. Collaborate with stakeholders to plan and coordinate the execution of changes, ensuring that the necessary resources, timelines, and activities are identified. 2. Communication. Develop clear and effective communication strategies to inform stakeholders about upcoming changes, their benefits, and any relevant information. Craft messaging that addresses concerns, anticipates questions, and encourages buy-in. 3. Stakeholder engagement. Engage with individuals and teams affected by the change, addressing their concerns, gathering feedback, and fostering a sense of involvement and ownership. 4. Change impact assessment. Evaluate the potential impact of changes on various aspects of the organization, including systems, processes, personnel, and customer experience. Identify potential risks, challenges, and areas that require mitigation. 5. Resistance management. Identify sources of resistance to change and develop strategies to address them. Work with stakeholders to overcome resistance through effective communication, training, and support. 6. Training and education. Develop and deliver training programs to equip employees with the skills and knowledge needed to adapt to the changes. Provide resources and guidance to help stakeholders navigate the transition. 7. Change documentation. Maintain accurate and up-to-date records of change requests, assessments, approvals, and implementation details. Ensure that a comprehensive change history is available for analysis and reference. Coordination and implementation. Coordinate with various teams, departments, and stakeholders to ensure a smooth implementation of changes. Monitor progress and address any issues or roadblocks that arise during the implementation process. 9. Post-change evaluation. Assess the outcomes of implemented changes and compare them against the anticipated benefits and goals. Gather feedback from stakeholders to identify areas for improvement and potential lessons learned. 10. Change measurement and reporting. Define and track key performance indicators, KPIs, related to change management success, such as adoption rates, user satisfaction, and efficiency gains. Provide regular reports to relevant stakeholders on the status and impact of changes. 11. Continuous improvement. Collaborate with the change process owner and other relevant parties to identify opportunities for process improvements and enhancements. Incorporate feedback and insights into refining future change management activities. 12. Escalation and problem solving. Escalate issues or challenges that require higher-level decision-making or resolution. Work to find solutions to unexpected complications that may arise during the change process. The change management team acts as a bridge between the strategic planning of changes and their practical execution. Their efforts ensure that changes are carried out effectively, stakeholders are well informed and supported, and the organization can adapt to new requirements while minimizing disruptions. When talking about strategic vision, the conversation often centers around forward-thinking leaders and bold, out-of-the-box ideas. But while performing under the pressure of producing such a vision, many neglect the ingredients for impactful, sustained change. High-performing institutions build an infrastructure that supports all strategic initiatives. Laying this foundation is an investment in the future of the institution that opens time and energy for leadership to focus on high-level activities and ensures progress during periods of leadership transition. Here are the 3 most important parts to create an infrastructure that supports strategic change. 1. Make strategic action automatic. 2. Create a shared reality. 3. Establish the foundation for a culture of continuous improvement. Number 1 on the list is make strategic action automatic. The first step in creating an infrastructure that promotes long-term strategic change is embedding elements of strategic goals in the daily lives of all stakeholders. For example, create a line item on every committee meeting agenda that focuses on that unit's strategic goals. Include accountability measures related to those goals on every staff evaluation, or schedule regular progress communication. By making strategic action automatic rather than effortful, you ensure that progress and improvement is self-sustaining and doesn't rely on the actions of a single leader or team. Let's see an example. The Provost's Office at Southern Utah University, SUU, automates strategic action through annual self-review reports tied to a small set of strategic performance metrics. Departments provide write-ups of their mission and strategy, how their own strategy connects with institutional strategic goals, and all high-impact practices they've implemented. Departments next select action steps based on whether their performance is meeting goals. They can choose which metrics to prioritize and plan actions around, or use the data to support the continuance of existing successful practices. Departments also set a timeline to complete their action steps, typically by the next year's review, and use the review to reflect on whether they were successful or there were any unforeseen barriers to completion. This locally driven direction creates automatic, continuous improvement towards strategic goals that is tied to the review process, not a specific leader. Number 2 is create a shared reality. Arguments about data, personal interpretation of events, or tangential goals take time and energy from all stakeholders, but especially leadership. Getting everyone on the same page with a single, agreed-upon version of what's happening, example, standardized central data set, key performance indicators, specific goals, strengthens any strategic initiative. It also eliminates a large burden to building consensus, providing leadership more time to focus on other tasks. Example, to get everyone on the same page for annual reviews, a university begins with a standard set of performance trends provided by institutional research, IR, staff each spring. This single IR resource, which includes the same data for all departments, creates a single version of the truth regarding departmental performance. Additionally, rather than burden IR staff and departments with an additional reporting requirement, this annual review process redirects time and effort for both groups from one-off, uncoordinated reporting requests to reports directly aligned with the needs of institutional strategy. Third on the list is establish the foundation for a culture of continuous improvement. Some initiatives may be developed by a single leader or team. However, long-term improvement across the institution depends on the day-to-day actions of stakeholders throughout the organization. Process improvement is a proven method of redesigning and transforming suboptimal workflows and is a key component of successful, sustained initiatives. The most impactful and accessible step to building a culture of continuous improvement is embedding process improvement experts across campus. Embedding these capabilities empowers staff to improve the efficiency and quality of daily workflows in their home units, providing a system by which leaders can count on staff to fix problems as they arise. Most notably, this practice demands few central staff. Instead of increasing process improvement FTEs, full-time equivalent, in a central office, staff throughout the institution are trained to contribute to improvement projects.